Well, you guys already seen my UFC 298 picks. I am actually pretty happy. I actually got 6 out of 6 for um, the five main card fights. I also got the Limos fight right as well as your feature prelim. Um, but yeah, to get Anthony Hernandez right, um, Ian Gary right, Marab Davalishi right, Robert Whitaker right, and then to actually already predict the finish by Taporia on uh, Volkanovski take his featherweight championship. So that's a pretty good night, actually. I had a clear mind seeing that these picks were gonna come to fruition. So it's pretty awesome. Um, I also did want to talk about Super Bowl 58, Chiefs and 49ers. That was a good one. It did start off pretty slow because both defenses were pretty much on their game, and there wasn't much scoring for, I guess you could say, for most of the first quarter, and I guess it kind of picked up in the second quarter. Um, but 49ers did actually have the jump on the Chiefs. They got a field goal from Moody. I believe they got a somewhat of a flea flicker, trick play, pass play. Uh, Purdy uh, gave the ball to Jawan Jennings, and Jennings ended up passing the ball to Christian McCaffrey. And that was something because that got the 49ers pretty much hyped up, got the momentum early. Chiefs were kind of, they're pretty much on their heels, and it was 10-0. And then finally, the Chiefs finally got a break. They finally got something going. Finally got a field goal to get on the scoreboard before the half was over. And then, well, Chiefs then got the ball again. Got another field goal. Just chipping away. And the big break happened when the 49ers fumbled the punt return and gave the Chiefs and Mahomes very short field. And on, I think, the very next play, Mahomes threw a touchdown pass to go up 13-10. And then the 49ers were able to kind of collect themselves, get back in the game, and they got a touchdown pass. Brock Purdy to, guess what? Jawan Jennings. So Jawan Jennings, I don't know if he was the first one to ever do this, but he was the first ever to not only throw a touchdown pass and catch a touchdown pass. So I guess the only other person I could think of is I think it's what was it? What's his name? Uh, Nick Foles. Was that the Philly special? So, um, but for a receiver to be the one to not only throw a touchdown pass and catch a pass, that might have been the first I could think of. It might be the first in history, actually, of the Super Bowl. So that's something. Um, Now, the thing about that particular touchdown pass that Jennings caught, well, the problem was Moody got his extra point blocked by two guys. So that kept the score 16-13. And that's actually an important part because the the Chiefs came back and actually tied the game with a field goal. And that 16-16, fourth quarter, well, the 49ers got a field goal with a minute 47 left in the game. and they were up 19-16. So you can imagine that that extra point might have come in handy because at this point, all the Chiefs needed was a field goal to tie it and force overtime. So guess what? Mahomes pretty much got the team down the field. Uh, 6 seconds left. I mean, they tried to get a touchdown, but with 6 seconds left, it's pretty much safe. You can tie the game, and you can go into overtime and try your luck. So 19-19, um, going into overtime, 49ers won the coin toss. They elected to receive the ball, which I would say that's actually a good idea because for one, it gives your defense a chance to rest. Because I believe the last team to be on there was the Chiefs offense and the 49ers defense. And so that defense was actually the one that gave up the field goal. So I would say, uh, with what was working for the 49ers, just get the ball first, give your defense a chance to rest, and then, give them a chance to win the game for you. So the 49ers got down the field, got about midway, and they got a little bit more than midway, and they actually ended up settling for a field goal. Kudos to the Chiefs defense for holding them to a field goal. So at this point, because the rule is both teams will get one possession no matter what. Normally, if it was a touchdown on the first possession, it would have ended the game. But in this case, these are the new overtime rules for the postseason. Um, Now, granted, that touchdown on the first possession will actually still apply as a victory, sudden victory for the team that got the touchdown, and will allow the other team to get a possession only for the regular season. That's for now. But for the postseason, it is to make sure that both teams get a possession. You know, if the first team were to get a touchdown, at least you give the other team a chance to at least try to tie or win the game, or fail to do so. So now with the 49ers getting the field goal, which by the way, it also used to be whoever scored first wins the game. You got a field goal on the very first possession, you used to win that way. But uh, that's not the case anymore. So the defense actually does have to hold. You know, I always endorse the fact that your whole team should actually work as a team to win the game and not just have the offense only and no defense, or the fact that the defense will lose without a chance for to have the offense to at least try to win the game or tie. So I like the fact that you're giving both teams a chance to have the ball. Um, so with the 49ers getting the field goal, now you give Mahomes the football, 75 yards to work with, get a field goal to tie the game in overtime and continue overtime in the Super Bowl. And the next score after that would actually be sudden death at that point. Whoever gets the next point will be the champion. But Mahomes, doing Mahomes things and got the team down the field. Even converted on a 4th and 1. He actually ran for a first down. If when those situations come up, you gotta dig deep and find ways to win and continue and strive for victory. Mahomes took it upon himself to do that. Kudos to him. Got his team down. He willed his team down there, and well, uh, utilizing a lot of short passes, his run plays, using everything to his arsenal at that point. And you can start seeing that they were starting to dissect this 49ers defense and got down to the fact that uh, the first overtime was about to end. Funny thing is, so as Mahomes got the team down to like the what was it, the 3 yard line, the 5 yard line or something. 7 seconds left, running clock, two timeouts. Very nonchalantly runs the play, throws a pass to Nicole Hartman, and that was actually the game winning touchdown to win the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. What's interesting was that Hardman actually did not know that that catch was actually to win the game at that point. He said he blacked out. Uh, what's also interesting, I heard later on, was that the 49ers actually did not know the rules of overtime. The Chiefs pretty much had prepped for this, but I guess the 49ers did not do so. Uh, so apparently, I guess they weren't aware about the second possession or something after their score, something like that. So, yeah, the thing that I actually forgot about this part because I probably didn't read it because I assumed that the 15-minute overtime, you had to have the same score for by the time that overtime was over to continue playing another overtime. But the thing was, when I saw Mahomes actually nonchalantly just run a play with a running clock, there's a chance that they might have came short of the goal line before triple zeros were going to show on the clock for the first overtime. And I actually thought that if they didn't, they did like call a timeout or something, or get that score before triple zeros of the first overtime, I thought they were just simply gonna lose because they were trailing by the time triple zeros were on the clock for the first overtime. So it turns out the reason why he was so nonchalantly about that is because uh, their possession does not end at triple zeros. Their possession ends if it's a turnover. They didn't convert on fourth down, or they didn't get the game time score on their possession, or they would simply win the game by getting a touchdown on their possession. So those are like basically the touchdown to tie, uh, failure to get a score to win or tie the game. Those are basically your three results you can have. Uh, so yeah, that was like, damn, that would have been a sad way to end the Super Bowl, knowing that you had a running clock, you had timeouts, and you were just very not in a rush to tie or win the game before the first overtime was going to end. I actually thought that uh, I actually thought that the overtime in this case was like the NBA overtime where you have to get all your points in before the overtime ends. So in a sense, if it's still tied, you keep playing another overtime. But if you were to happen to not get enough points, even though you have the ball and you have a chance to actually tie or win the game, but time ran out, you would lose because you didn't get those points in before the time ran out. But in this case, football overtime is different in a way than the NBA overtime because football is more of a possession centric game, and so to say that you're going to give both teams at least one possession, the possession has to end. So they're saying that the time thing is actually a little misleading because when you think you're running out of time, but you still have your possession. So in this sense, I remember hearing this when I replayed it on YouTube. The referee did say this is a brand new game, so that's like another 4 quarters. But you still apply the sudden death aspect of the overtime rules while you allow both teams to have one possession, regardless if the first team got a touchdown on the very first possession. So, or before then, if you had just scored a field goal on the first possession, the game does not end at that point. So at least you're giving the other team a chance to at least try to actually tie or win the game or lose. So I like that. So I'm glad I learned something new that uh, when you apply these new overtime rules for the NFL playoffs, that when they say you are going to give both teams at least one possession, which means that both possessions actually have to end. So first possession will end in some way, whether it's a punt, a turnover, a score of either a field goal or a touchdown. And the second one will end on either a turnover, uh, a field goal to tie to match, or a touchdown to also match, or a touchdown and going for two to either win or lose. So, I mean, the only time that you technically don't need a possession from each side is that if the first team um, gets, you know, if the first team that has the ball actually gives up a safety on the first possession, and actually that ends the game right there, actually. So, uh, so yeah, that's the only time. Otherwise, overall, great back and forth drama game. Started off pretty slow, but I liked how it picked up. And you do see Mahomes, you see Brock Purdy, you're seeing the field goal kickers, you're seeing the defenses, you're seeing the chess match going on. I like these competitive Super Bowl matches. I don't like blowouts, actually. So, with that, kudos to the Chiefs for winning their third Super Bowl in the last 4 years. So, they do have a dynasty going on, but I can't wait for the Chargers to assemble their team. The coaches, led by Coach Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, get in his star quarterback to start off with Justin Herbert, and can't wait to see how they're gonna either restructure contracts, maybe retain Austin Eckler. Hopefully, they might keep Keenan Allen. Maybe they might keep Mike Williams, but if they can't do it, well, the Chargers do have the number 5 draft pick in the 2024 NFL draft. I'd like for them to get Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State, but he's probably going to go to the Arizona Cardinals. So the next best thing is the Chargers will get Neighbors from LSU, receiver, or they get the tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers. So honestly, it's going to be looking pretty good for the Chargers. I mean, just Jim Harbaugh actually did bring his defensive coordinator with him from Michigan, defensive coordinator, coach, Minter. So, and he did bring on an offensive coordinator by the name of Greg Roman. So, he worked with Lamar Jackson, he worked with Josh Allen. So, he gets to work with Justin Herbert. So, things are looking pretty up. I can't wait to see what they're going to do for free agency, restructuring contracts, draft picks. They've already got their coaches, so they got a new GM. So can't wait to see how 2024 is going to go for the Chargers. So can't wait to go to a couple of games. So cross my fingers for that, and hopefully they have a good era with Jim Harbaugh behind the helm. So uh, I actually did go to a Super Bowl party out in University City. My friend Noah and Rob put it together. Uh, Great food. I brought spring rolls, two different varieties, the lemongrass beef and the traditional spring roll with shrimp and pork. So that's all pretty good. Um, Everybody had a good time. It was a packed house. So the next thing I want to talk about, what's a comedy show? It was a murder mystery comedy show. It was produced by the one and only Camille Waters. This was at the mic drop. This was called Bloody Valentines. It was kind of a dating comedy show. Three couples were on it. Your host was Christian Ricketts. His name was Max Malcone. Uh, I guess the winning couple would get to choose to either do get $1 million and go on an all expense paid vacation together, or they split up and they both get $50,000 and live alone forever. So the winning couple was comedians Jeff Grooms and um, Sarah R.W. Um, so they were more of a kind of a, I guess you could say, 11 couple. Jeff Grooms was more like, very much of a gym rat, narcissistic gym rat, and then Sarah R.W. was more like the girl next door. So, they look good. They look good as a couple. Um, and then you do have the two losing couples. You got the hustlers. You got the she Carissa Gomez. First time seeing her, and she was paired with Walter Ford. Great comic. Seen him a lot. They talked about businesses, startup businesses, businesses that are worth more than $17, companies that hire people to hire people to hire people. I think that's what I remembered. So, uh, they were all right as a couple. Uh, it kind of gave me a couple of laughs. And then the other couple, it was a lovey-dovey couple as well. They were called the Lovers. First time seeing Gabby Vargas, and then I've always seen Carlos Figueroa, great comic, and they have their own YouTube channel. Apparently, Carlos gave up his dog for Gabby. Uh, I don't know. It's like uh, you're kind of like smothered with all the lovey-dovey stuff from Gabby and Carlos. So, as Max interviewed all three couples, uh, now the twist: Sarah R.W. Um, and Jeff, they were when they went up to be interviewed. There's a bright light fixture that was at front of their table. So they said that for them to choose the $1 million and go on a vacation together, or take the $50,000 and split up. So if the light was still on, they were going to go on their vacation and take $1 million. But if the light turned off by one of them, it would, um, you know, uh, you know, I guess they would take the $50,000 and split. Thing is, when they turn off the lights to announce what they were gonna decide, Sarah R.W. screamed and she was killed off the show. So she plopped to her right side, and um, now we have a murder scene. And I think Jeff picked her up in his arms and carried her out. And yeah, so I think Max said something pretty funny about like where to dispose of her body. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Um, and now Camille Waters came up as the investigator, and now she's investigating the host and the other five remaining contestants. So Carissa was kind of suspicious because she has her black gloves on, and given where Sarah was sitting, depending on how she died, I guess it was either by pressing the button, uh, So it was either going to be either Jeff, or I guess it was either going to be Sarah that was going to take the, you know, the the kill. But I guess Sarah was going to press the button. uh, I guess she was going to press the button to turn it off. Um, but I guess her button was laced with something. Uh, so it actually killed her. Um, so I mean, Carissa was kind of suspicious, but I was kind of leaning towards Carlos because Carlos was actually sitting where Sarah was. So, and I guess when it got down to it, after all the questions, Max was paid off. Apparently, he admitted he got paid off. Uh, and then uh, I guess he informed, I guess, Carlos and Gabby to do something to the buttons. So um, I guess it's to kill off either the winning couple, um, but only one of them pressed the button, I guess. And so the second place couple would have been, I guess, you would think that the motive would have been either of the losing couples would then take over and then get the money. So money motive must kill the winning couple to get to the money. You have Max that was paid off to do so, telling them which one to do it. But I guess when the crowd wanted Gabby and Carlos to kiss, Gabby stopped right there and said she can't do it anymore. She can't stand Carlos. Carlos also can't stand Gabby. And then I guess Gabby kind of coerced Carlos to do something to the buttons, and it got Sarah killed. So you have Gabby and Carlos guilty, and you have Max guilty too. So, and that is your the conclusion to Murder Mystery Show. Great show by Camille Waters. I'm glad I got to go. This was actually better than the last one because the last one was like a Christmas party, office party, and the crowd did not want to find out who the murderer was because we didn't like the host. So I'm glad this one the crowd wanted to find out who it was, and it was a really good show. I can't wait to go to another show again. I would say this show was an 8.75. Great job by Camille Waters, Christian Ricketts, Carlos Figueroa, Gabby Vargas, Carissa Gomez, and Walter Ford. I really enjoyed it. So, also kudos to Dylan for the audio, the graphics, and the lights. So, overall, great cast. I enjoyed it. I recommend it to anybody. So, yeah, follow these comics. Go to the mic drop, or go to all these comedy shows here in San Diego and also LA. So you'll probably see me at a show at your local comedy show. So I'll see you guys then. All right, guys. I'm gonna return to the that festival in Mira Mesa, another Lunar New Year festival. Can't wait to see more lion dances, try out some good food. And I'll talk about more of that later. All right, guys. You know the saying goes, boom! Tiggy Maximus signing off. Baby. All right, later, guys.